Wow, we're back because we just couldn't stop giving out awards today. And we're like, you know what? Let's go even later. It's running out of days before we all break for the holidays.
Let's take it to the limit.
Yes.
Point of no return.
Yep. So yeah, we're gonna give out an award for the best ongoing game. This is a game that's already out. You know, we live in this era of games as a service, and also just some things that are multiplayer games tend to improve over time. This category would include games like Rocket League or I don't know, games like that. So we'll start it off here. I'm actually gonna nominate one to kick this off. Super Smash Brothers Ultimate had a very good year as an ongoing game. So I wanted to throw that out there.
I think the characters that they've added have been really interesting. They all feel very different. Like there's a huge difference between Kazuya and Sora, and yet they're both really fun to play in their own way. And God, who came out before that? Oh, Pyra and Mithra. Like those those were characters that nobody saw coming and play very differently. And even they're not even all necessarily sword characters either. So I got to give them that too. So
yeah, that's what as a fighting game that's been around for as long as Smash has. Like I just think the announcements in Ultimate this year were pretty huge, and also just it's back as an esport. Like I'm happy to see offline Smash tournaments happening again. It's they picked up right where they left off. Right, it's still MKLeo on top of the world, even with the new meta. I think the meta has drastically shifted this year. But yeah, I just think the game deserves props for all the changes we've seen this year. So yeah, that was my nomination.
I'm
going to nominate a game that I expect most of the staff will brush aside, but it is a big part of Shacknews on an ongoing basis, and that is Destiny 2. And I have prepared a concise bullet point list of the pros of why I think this deserves a ongoing game consideration. Weekly story content. We won't get into details, but our analytics back up the fact that it is a strong ongoing game. In 2021, they introduced a transmog system, so you can customize the look of your character without having to take away from the stats of your character. In 2021, they introduced crossplay, so I can now play with friends who had PS4 and couldn't get a PS5, and I'm now playing with that same friend now that he has a PS5, and vice versa. And it also goes side by side with cross save, so if you want to load it up on a different platform and play it, you can save your progress, move back, continue on. It is a co-op game, it is a PvP game, and it is a PvP VE game. There is something for everybody, and you do not have to partake in the PvP. I know people that just do not do that, and I also know people in the Shacknews community who almost exclusively partake in the PvP, so it goes both ways. The gunplay and the movement have always been fantastic. We've never argued about that. Visually stunning game, runs quite well, actually. I played it on PS5 not that long ago. It ran pretty well.
And Stadia.
And it actually, I know someone that plays Destiny 2 on Stadia.
Like, unironically?
Yeah, Jan plays it on Stadia.
Like, he chooses that platform?
Not all the time, but it's like if he doesn't want to be in his computer room, he'll load it up on Stadia, use the cross save function, do what he needs to do, and then bugger off.
It's essentially replacing the couch experience that you would get on a PS5, Xbox Series, whatever.
For him, yeah. And
it must be nice to have fast internet.
Yeah, apparently. Another side, Destiny 2, I mean, this goes with the weekly story content I talked about. It has extensive, deep lore, which is very enjoyable. You could read about Destiny 2's story and lore the same as you could about many, of the games we love for hundreds of hours and not get through it. So I think Destiny 2 deserves some recognition as the best ongoing game.
A solid nomination with succinct bullet points. I appreciate that. Who else has a nomination here?
Well, it's not the talk of the town that it was at this point a year ago, but I think it's worth mentioning that Among Us has done a lot of really good work this year, and it's still a great game that you can play with your friends. And they didn't have to add anything to it; they could have just left it the way it is, and it's still like a staple that for like groups of friends to like anybody can pick it up and play it. But they went ahead and they added roles, they added XP, they added crossplay, like the stuff that they've added to Among Us over the most recent updates. Like, you know what? Good on them. And they could have gotten real.
I thought crossplay shipped with that game.
I thought it was a more recent thing, especially as they started coming to more platforms.
Maybe it's just more noticeable, but I was able to play it.
And they could have gotten discouraged once like Fortnite just completely like just wholesale jack their concept, and they could have just called it a day. But no, they're carrying on. They're still doing their thing, and good on them for it.
It was crossplay between mobile and PC last year, is what I'm thinking. That did ship last year.
It just kept adding more consoles.
They kept adding consoles to that crossplay support, which is great to Ozzy's point.
Yeah.
No, it's a solid nomination. I have played 0 minutes of Among Us this year. Like, it's not an ongoing game that has, like, I don't know.
It burned out really fast. Like, it was really like it shoosh, and then
it shined super bright last year.
Yeah,
and it's not faded away entirely, but like it's not as popular as it was a year ago. It
doesn't have the spotlight that it did last year.
It honestly was right place, right time. Like in the heart of the lockdowns and the pandemic, it brought people together, and we were all chatting, and I think it was a social game in that sense, and that's why it had that massive success last year.
It's a solid go-to social game in the same sense that Mario Party is.
Mm-hmm.
Hey Donovan, was Batman in Fortnite this year?
There was a Batman in Fortnite this year. Yeah, there's like 3 different Batmen in Fortnite at this point, but one of them
there's a whole Batman multiverse in Fortnite.
Because they've got like. They did like the original Batman. It's like Adam West, Dark Knight. Then they did like it might have been Batman Metal. It's one that's got like or like the post-apocalyptic one that's got like ripped up like armor and stuff. It's a whole thing. I was gonna get into Fortnite when everybody had their nominations in, but yeah.
Fortnite's a game
to nominate Fortnite for ongoing game, Donovan.
No, I'm gonna talk about it as the token Fortnite player on staff. I think that we would be remiss to not mention the biggest game on the planet. And thing, I think it's still a testament how that game continues to feel fun and fresh. As somebody who has now, I just read this week 1,100 hours in it. The stuff they do in that game is still super interesting. They just had the Chapter 3 event this past week, where they that was when you saw on Twitter. It was like Dwayne Johnson's in the game. They added
The Rock
a
is
new
in
map.
The game. Who cares about Batman, David? The Rock. It doesn't matter what you think about.
The Rock destroyed the world.
They
that was good. I had that coming. Yeah.
They did their chapter ending event and added a new map to the game, which is something that the community wasn't expecting until like May-ish was what they were on course for. So they kind of jumped ahead of all that stuff, which was pretty dope. Another thing I think the Fortnite doesn't get a lot of credit for is they do a lot of really cool original stuff in that game. I know like the headline is always like they copied this game or they copied that developer, but they do like a lot of really cool original stuff in Fortnite with a lot of the abilities they add. The way that they've kind of streamlined all of the cosmetic stuff is way more simpler now. I think they made all the microtransaction stuff cheaper without like increasing costs for any skins, which I like because stuff was really expensive when that game first shipped. I felt I burned out really hard in that game like early 2020, but it's back into a state where it wasn't like 2019 where they're kind of firing off on all cylinders now. And I think Fortnite I think it's in probably the best state it's ever been, which is quite a testament for that game. So
I have a question for you, Donovan, because I don't play that game hardly at all, but I'm interested. So when they update or put new things in, like how much of that is like game mechanic changing and how much of that is purely visual?
I think they do a good job at like blending them together, right? Like Ozzy mentioned earlier, like the swinging Spider-Man thing. So like this season's big like licensed character is Spider-Man. Like he's the last character you get in the battle pass.
That's a feature that they could have easily just tacked on, and it's good.
But there's a part of the update today. There's an item you can like get like his web shooters. Like you'll find them just like you find guns and stuff, and you can swing. Like it's just like in the games where you latch on the items and you swing with momentum through the world. and it's actually really well done. Like it's not like a reskinned glide effect. Like you're genuine. Like they put in the swing mechanic. And I showed, well, I didn't show Ozzy, but I was talking to him about it, where somebody posted the side by side of playing as Spider-Man and Marvel's Avengers, where the swinging is really looks just really like dry and stale, and then in Fortnite it actually looks like it's got momentum and weight to it.
Because
so yeah, they usually tie it in pretty well, I think.
Because here's a problem with web slinging in Marvel's Avengers. A lot of the stages in Marvel's Avengers are like in these giant fields outside, or like these whole outdoor areas. It's like, where are you web slinging to exactly in that game?
That's future Square Enix's problem.
You can kind of say that same thing in Fortnite, but they kind of get around that with like a lot of the building structures to it.
Yeah, the environment design kind of lends to Spider-Man, web slinging in there.
Yeah, and they usually incorporate stuff into the open world, which I always thought was pretty cool.
We just take Fortnite for granted just because it's the biggest game in the world, but they could totally rest on their laurels, and they don't. They keep adding more stuff to it, and they keep adding tangibly better stuff. Like, and they don't have to.
Oh yeah, they do. Because that's a company that clearly is trying to build up a portfolio for an IPO, and Fortnite is the cash cow there. And also, they thumbed their nose at the entire mobile space with this ongoing battle with Apple and Google. So they absolutely need to keep Fortnite relevant right now. So I would take the other side, that like they're between the company setting itself up for an IPO and Fortnite itself experiencing a decrease in sales because of the ongoing legal battles with the mobile platforms. Yeah, I think they need Fortnite to be popular, or more popular now than ever before. And they're putting in the effort, to credit the devs. Like, they're actually doing some unique things. And from a biz dev standpoint, I've talked about this with Smash. Fortnite is proving to be one of the ultimate video game crossovers too, Ozzy, right?
Yeah, and like the characters that they've added are just come from so many different corners of gaming. Like we've like between Spider-Man and between Batman and between like the Street Fighter characters that were already there. They added Resident Evil characters a few months ago.
Yeah.
We're recording this on a week when they're about to announce the Gears of War characters. It's so
talk about coming full circle. Like this is
That's not full circle. When they introduced Jazz Jackrabbit in that
like it's so weird to me that like Unreal, Epic creates the Gears franchise, milks it for every last dollar they can, and then sells it to Microsoft to go do what they did to Hotmail, and then ends up licensing Gears from the people who bought Gears from them.
Are you excited to get into Fortnite as Kate Diaz, Asif?
No, but you give me Coltrane or Marcus Phoenix or
Marcus
Dom?
Phoenix. Marcus Phoenix is in it.
That's what's
Dom?
Fortnite. Yeah, they always have that one hook for somebody, right? Whether
if
you
give
might not like
me
90%,
Dom, I'm in.
Right, but if you have
I
that
said
Dom,
this the first time I played Fortnite. I was like,
I think Dom will come at some point.
I said, oh, so you guys made Gears without the cover mechanic. Neat. And no chainsaw. It's like, I don't know.
It's purely
as a Gears
visual,
fan, unless I can Lancer Spider-Man in half, I'm probably not going to pick it up.
Okay, I'm in if that happens.
If I could literally chainsaw Spider-Man, game of the year every year.
You're not the only one. People have like it breaks immersion when Batman has an assault rifle. Like it looks ridiculous. Like some of the stuff.
It was weird. What was it, Naruto or something? Like there was like really weird Naruto with an AK-47 just looked weird.
There was a video clip of Naruto landing and like doing all sorts of ninja hand signs, and then pulling out an assault rifle and gunning down a deer.
Do you realize I wrote that feature last year? I said there will never be a game like Smash Brothers Ultimate again, and then somebody throws Fortnite at me, and like, damn you.
There will never be a fighting game like Smash Ultimate.
Yeah. But in terms of like bringing licenses together, like Fortnite is the natural counter to that Smash Brothers article.
Fortnite announces a platform fighter mode.
Oh boy.
I'm sorry to just put that on the universe.
Multiverses just go. Warner Brothers Multiverses just goes home. They're like, all right, we're not competing with this.
So Fortnite, entertained me a lot too. With it gave me an opportunity to bond with Donovan as I watched him play the Ariana Grande on stream.
It's pretty rare where you can watch someone like simp in the metaverse. and Fortnite really gave it to us this year.
Ultimate simping.
Oh boy.
It was the most immersive simp stream I have seen, and I watch EE.
Oh my god.
Don't shame.
Nah.
No. Happy birthday, EE.
So,
any other
Hello,
nominations?
Marylander.
Yeah.
Question. Can a single player game be a best ongoing game?
Yeah, I guess, but how?
I want to give an honorable mention to something because it
Long
never
Dark.
occurred to me for a long time. I'll be very quick. I've got bullet points again. But it occurred to me yesterday when I was putting this feature together that The Long Dark has been ongoing for 7 years. It started in 2014 before 2014. It started as a Kickstarter, was in early access from 2014 to 2017. It's had 12 major updates, which either added a story, episode, or an entirely new region to the game. It's had 150 smaller updates that added either items or patches, etc., etc. Seasonal events like 4 Days of Night on Halloween, Escape the Dark Walker. Gets bigger and better with every single update, and it has not charged you a single dime beyond the initial price of the game. So when you're buying your skins in Fortnite so you can be Batman, and you're buying your skins in Destiny so your gun can look cool, this is an indie studio that has supported a single player game for 7 years off the initial price that you paid. So for $10, which is what I paid, I have gotten all of that content. And we may not vote for it a single time, but I think it's worth noting that that's pretty impressive.
I think you brought up a good point, and a single player game can be an ongoing game, especially when the devs support it like that.
Yeah, we've seen Clay do it with Don't Starve for many years.
Mm-hmm. Or, Grounded. I know it's not officially 1.0 yet, but Grounded is definitely an ongoing game that can be played single player.
I have a nomination that I won't be able to make this time next year. Animal Crossing. All year, free content up to and including 2.0, optional paid expansion. You won't be missing anything major if you don't get it. But Nintendo, for over 18 months, free content on a monthly or bi-monthly basis.
And
I think that's
seasonal
pretty
content
incredible
too.
And seasonal content too. Yeah.
And also just the nature of the game where certain fish are only available in certain times a year, certain bugs,
Oh yeah, but I don't even have to count that. I'm talking about new content.
Yeah.
Like
no, but even just like if for instance like you were busy last summer, the game still has value like a year later. No, that's a good nomination. That's kind of similar. These aren't games that many people will think is ongoing games, and I don't even think Smash would normally be in this category, but it is this year.
Even the interesting thing is about the seasons is, last year the first seasonal holiday was Bunny Day.
Mm-hmm.
This year, when each holiday, including Bunny Day, has rolled around, they've added new seasonal items and recipes to buy. So you're not even just repeating events from last year.
But we agree that Bunny Day is the worst.
Oh, it's absolutely the worst.
It turns everything into damn eggs.
Yeah.
I play that game because I like fishing, and they turn everything into a damn water egg for like a month, and I'm just like, this sucks.
Yeah.
But the other events were cool. The fireworks event this year was awesome.
Oh, Asif, you rang in 2021 with Amy and me.
Yeah, that's right. We did our New Year's celebration together. That was fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
Animal Crossing is a solid nomination. Do we have any others?
Yeah. Dead by Daylight. I shout out every year. That game is still killing it. They just released a new chapter like a week ago. Like new character, new map, and a new survivor. And every time they do that, the ecosystem changes because there's new talents. They call them perks in the game, and they can all be intermingled. And it's absolutely incredible what they've done for how long they've done it without making a sequel.
I think it's sad though that they lost the Stranger Things content, because that was some of the cooler stuff that they added.
Oh, I asked Matt about that, and he's like, this will never, like, he was super adamant. He's like, this is never going to happen again. Like someone, he couldn't tell me why, but someone somewhere wasn't getting what they wanted out of it, so they pulled their contract.
Yeah, it's money.
That's a bummer.
Money. It's always giving me money, and I think that Smash, Fortnite, they've done a really good job of partnering with companies in a way that seems equitable for both parties. And I think when you're licensing content, you have to do that, or otherwise you're going to run into what you see with these Forza games, right? Where they lose, a lot of the cars disappear from the games because they only had it for X amount of years. I think rev share kind of solves that issue. Instead of just a one-time fee to whoever you're licensing from, coming up with some sort of revenue sharing is the model going forward. And there's probably a problem with the Stranger Things rev share that led to that. That's a good nomination, and you're right. That's behavior, right? Studio. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have really supported that game extremely well for extended period of time.
Yeah, the graphics updates and stuff like that too. When they did a full overhaul on like the look of the game.
They're all next gen now.
That was pretty ambitious, and I'm sure the amount of balancing that goes into each character release is also daunting as it gets bigger.
Blake, I think you had a nomination.
Yeah, of course I'm going to nominate Rocket League. I play this game all the freaking time, man, and they made some good improvements this year to the UI, and I think in particular the way they handle tournaments is a lot better this year. You want to talk licenses? They get cool licenses too, Donovan, like Ghostbusters and Fast and Furious and the NFL.
007.
Smash Mouth All-Star is now in the game.
Yeah, they got James Bond's car, Knight Riders in there.
David, it's super annoying when you're playing someone with that song as their goal celebration.
It really is
terrible. It's like adds insult to injury every time I hear that song.
I can imagine.
I honestly don't think it was that great of a year for Rocket League. I could not stand Season 4. It was horrible. Everything
Cowboy
about
season?
It.
Yeah,
the Cowboy season
wasn't that yeehaw, but I mean, overall,
the one of the best parts of the Battle Pass was just a Rocket Pass was this goal explosion that was like pew pew pew, and I got it in like 8 different colors, and I'm like, I hate every single one of these. The current season 5, is pretty great. It's space focused. The skins are cool. The goal explosions are cool. But I think last year Rocket League really made some huge changes. I call it the great rocketing of 2020 when the game went free to play. That was a huge moment to me. To me, this year, Psyonix has really dragged their feet on like some really important updates in favor of cosmetics that cost $20 for a goddamn goal explosion. Like, nothing about this year really stood out to me for Rocket League. And I say that as someone who plays Rocket League almost every day. Like, it's not that I dislike the game. I just don't think this was like a banner year for that game compared to last year, where I really felt like that was going free to play was a huge damn deal. Now, to your point about tournaments, they did introduce more tournaments available at different times of day. But just last night we were looking at it. Today they had a drop shot 3v3 tournament at like 4 p.m. Ain't nobody wants to play drop shot. Like, come on. Like,
you can't. That's personal taste. I mean, obviously somebody wants to play it.
It's not personal taste. Go try to queue up for drop shot right now. You're gonna not find a match because no one likes that match. So it's like, yes, they improved the tournaments, but they kind of didn't improve the tournaments too. Because like, they're like, hey guys, you got more tournaments coming. By the way, we're gonna put really crappy modes in these tournaments. Like, I like hoops. I don't want to be in a hoops tournament. I don't want to be in a snow day tournament, which is the hockey mode. And I definitely never want to be in a drop shot tournament. And like, I just think they're wasting valuable opportunities for me to play a 3v3 soccer tournament. That's all I'm saying.
This season, Blake, what did you like particularly about this season for Fortnite, or this year for Fortnite?
Well,
sorry,
all the tournaments that Asif disliked. I think giving people an opportunity to play something other than 3v3 and like have it be a tournament and actually show off their skills is good.
2v2 tournaments are cool. I will give them props for the 2v2 tournaments. Hoops, fine, but it feels like a waste. Those afternoon tournaments really feel like a waste. I also, as someone who plays a lot of 1v1 Rocket League, where the hell's the 1v1 mode tournament? Like that inject that into my veins if that ever happens. You know? So like, it's not that I don't think they improved the game, and I'll give them props, because if you follow me on Twitter, I post screenshots of the most offensive team names I've ever come across in that game. They finally added something to their report tool about offensive club names. So they're actually doing something on that front.
Yeah, those new reporting tools are much more defined.
Yeah.
And like definitely a lot of things that you couldn't report specifically before you can. Like you can report people when they're spamming the same thing in chat over and over and over again.
Yeah, which a lot of people do with the quick chat.
Yeah.
But you can also, I've lost count of how many times I saw racial slurs or anti-LGBTQ plus words in team club names. And up until I think about a month or so ago, you were unable to report people for that. They added that. So I appreciate that, but this is a 5-year-old approaching 6-year-old game at this point. They could have done that before.
But they did do it finally. I mean, yeah. I saying what took you so long, like it doesn't really.
I'm gonna say what took you so long. When you got acquired by Epic Games, and you're allowing just some of the nastiest things to be said on your platform. It's not that hard. It is not that hard to do what they did, and they dragged their feet. Think about how many goal explosions they produced in the time where they could have put effort on that, and it shows you where that studio is focused right now, and it's money. So, as much as I love that game, I have no problem calling them out for their BS. But yeah, it's still a nomination. I wouldn't have nominated it, but it's a good nomination. Anyone else?
I think TJ had one too, didn't you, TJ?
Did I? No, I said Destiny 2 and 1.
Okay.
Did Sam have anything that we need to?
Sam, I think said Sea of Thieves.
Sam put in Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves. I knew it. I was like,
and I actually wish he's here because I think he'd have a good argument for it.
He made a very good case. If you go back and you watch our best expansion debate about the single player edition to Sea of Thieves, Sea of Thieves is probably the best it's ever been right now. They did make meaningful improvements ever since launch, but this is for people who don't want to play multiplayer or are sick of being ransacked by a rival crew when you're just minding your own business. Sea of Thieves gave you a nice respite from that.
I was gonna say, because I'm like, wasn't that the issue from like day one?
Yes, and they finally addressed it. And I think Sam made the point that they actually licensed some Disney content in it. Like they're making big steps over at Rare. But yeah,
when was the Jack Sparrow? Was that this year or last year?
That was this year.
That was this year.
Was it this year, really?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that was a huge deal. I remember seeing it at the time, and that was actually the content that made me think maybe Sora in Smash isn't so weird. Like if they can make this happen.
Well, obviously Disney has changed their tune.
Yes,
when it comes
absolutely.
to video games. I think at one point Disney wanted to own everything. They're like, we want to make the games internally. Disney Infinity was a thing.
Yeah, the people that Disney has brought in their games division, like they were the guys that are like, you know what, licensing is the way to
go. And I think that's honestly it's smart. Disney's core competency is not software development. It's owning IP and marketing IP and doing whatever they do. So yeah, I hope Disney continues to take risks with these developers, calculated risks. Here's Marvel's Avengers. Here's Wolverine over here. Like they're diversifying very well across devs. If you look at their licensing.
Yeah, they also knee-jerk though when something doesn't work right, and then they retract, and then you never see it again for like 10 years. Like the Monkey Island series. Like, what happened to that? Like, come on.
To their credit, they could have easily just like pulled the plug on Marvel's Avengers like a year ago, and they're still trying with that. I mean, it's still not going great.
Well, there's still the roadmap, yeah.
But you think about it. Go back to what you're saying. The change in their model. When you license your IP out, you're not taking the P&L risk at all. It's on. Who made that? Crystal Dynamics or Square? I can't remember.
Crystal Dynamics.
Yeah, Crystal Dynamics made Avengers, right? They licensed the IP from Disney. Disney took very little risk. It's not like you're going to damage the Avengers brand with a crappy video game. It's not the first time a video game has sucked based on a movie IP or a comic IP. So I think that their model right now is smart for them. They own a ton of IP. Why not turn around and license it? You're seeing it going on at Nintendo too with their mobile apps and also Super Nintendo World and this movie, the Mario movie that's coming out. Like licensing has higher margins. So I get why Disney's gone that route, and the people in charge over there are making some smart decisions.
They do weird stuff though. Didn't they like redo the model in Spider-Man PS4 to look like more like Tom Holland? Like, didn't they do weird stuff like that too?
That was a weird.
That
choice.
was like a weird thing that they do. They do odd stuff to be on brand sometimes.
No, they are still obsessive with the control they have over anything they do in the space, right? Largely due to their artists division. I've talked to a company that was working with Disney earlier this year on a promotion of, I think it was Kingdom Hearts or something. They are ridiculously anal about, the Disney has to be spelled this way on this background with this font and this kerning, and if any of it's wrong, we're going to reject it and it's going to take another week. So that's definitely the case, Greg. Like, they are draconian with their standards.
The Spider-Man model in particular is really weird when you look at the character models for Marvel's Avengers and for Guardians of the Galaxy and how different they look from the MCU counterparts. Mm-hmm. So for them to go the other way with Spider-Man is just bizarre to me. But
maybe they didn't have to pay likeness rights.
But also,
Tom
the
Holland.
Spider-Man IP is super weird to begin with because Sony is like still holding on for dear life to it, right? Yeah, that's a mess. If anyone can explain who owns Spider-Man to me, that would be nice.
So the video game rights are owned by, there's different publishing rights, right? So Disney owns Marvel, which and hence owns Spider-Man, but the motion picture rights and the video game rights are owned by Sony. So it gets complicated. Yeah.
Oh no, I've gone cross-eyed.
And then there's other because I looked into this. There's other characters that are owned by Disney but not Sony, so they can't use them. Like maybe Dr. Octopus is owned by Disney and that doesn't have the film rights to it as Sony does. So it gets really convoluted really quickly.
Let's are we ready to vote?
I think so. Anyone else have a nomination? No? Any other ongoing games? Shout out to Tetris 99. Just a little shout out. But yeah, we're not nominating it. Let's vote. I'm going to start with the Shacknews logo in the bottom right. Who is that?
That's Ozzy, but he disappeared.
Okay, Ozzy's gone. We'll start with David instead.
Oof. Actually, a lot of good cases made, but I'm going to fight pretty hard for Animal Crossing in another category since it was robbed in an earlier debate. I'm going to go with Fortnite. Actually, I thought Bill also laid out a really great case for Destiny, but even as someone who's uninterested in Fortnite, I just see what they're doing. There's a meme going around that says like Fortnite has a better Marvel versus Capcom roster than most Marvel versus Capcom games. Mm-hmm. I'm like, shit, yeah, good point. So yeah, Fortnite.
That's so sad.
Yeah, but they don't do anything. They're just skins. It's not like they're balanced fighters or anything like that.
I know, but just the fact that of all the Disney renaissances we're getting, that the odds of getting another Marvel versus Capcom keep getting longer and longer. It's like, jeez.
Denny, what you got here?
I think I'm gonna lean towards Fortnite too. I think I'm gonna go that route because they managed to stay relevant for so long. I think it's pretty impressive overall. With the amount of times I've had to mention the Fortnite to friends, despite not even playing the game anymore, it's popped up a lot for me. Mm-hmm. I got a few friends that maybe we downloaded even. So I'm gonna give it to Fortnite this time.
Okay, Donovan, you Zoomer.
Yeah, I'm gonna go my nominee Fortnite for sure.
Yep, I'm shocked. Greg.
Yeah, I stick to my guns, Dead by Daylight.
Mm-hmm.
I might have to cast a revote though if we end up in a tie.
Doesn't look like it, but we'll see. TJ, I think you had mentioned Destiny 2.
I did, but I'm gonna go for Fortnite.
God.
It's undeniable. Sorry.
Is it? How much have you played this year?
It doesn't matter. I can't avoid the topic.
I guess.
It literally doesn't matter.
Wouldn't the best ongoing game be a game that you played?
You know, I don't play Destiny 2 either.
Much anymore.
Austin, hear me out. The Rock's in it though. The Rock's in it.
My bad. The Rock's. Sorry.
Yes, so
sorry.
Good
point.
Austin, you made that same point earlier.
Yeah, I know I did. It doesn't matter if I made that point.
There it is.
There it is.
You gonna raise the eyebrows?
That's the thing that he says.
Destiny 2 is a big part of my job, and it's undeniable how beneficial that game has been for our site. I cannot turn on the internet without seeing Fortnite at least 20 times a week. It's
My brother
impossible.
is upset. He just got obsessed with that game this year. He got me playing a little bit with him.
Oh, damn.
Fortnite's now that meme that guy pointing at the screen is, because there's always something in there for somebody that's like, I know that.
Sure.
That's from that thing.
Ozzy, are you sticking with Among Us here? What are you doing?
I really wish Sam was here to argue for Jack Sparrow in Sea of Thieves. I had completely forgotten that was this year. I thought it was last year for some reason. And that kind of speaks to how long this second half of 2021 has felt.
I think they might have announced it last year, Ozzy.
No, it was this year. I
really?
Looked it up. It was.
Oh,
it was.
Yeah, I remember doing the trailer.
It was the E3 trailer.
Honestly, 2020, 2021 are just kind of.
The last 5 years just kind of blur together into one like.
Ozzy, what is your nomination?
My nomination was Among Us, and I still want to say Among Us, but I think I'm gonna take Sam's side. I'm gonna pretend that Sam made this really passionate argument for Sea of Thieves, and I'm gonna say Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, mate. There you go. Bill, the lone Destiny vote.
I'm gonna vote for Destiny 2, and I'm gonna punish the entire staff through all of 2022 for what is going on here.
Yeah.
Man,
Blake, you've been warned.
Oh man.
To your point, though, I think it might be a better year in 2022 for Destiny if all the stuff they got planned.
Oh, you're all in it now. You're all in it now. Enjoy this moment. It's gonna hurt for 12 months for 12 minutes of joy.
None of that punishment applies to me unless you start withholding Animal Crossing items. Then it starts to hurt. Then it gets me right here.
I have ways to everybody, David.
You just gave him a playbook. Blake, what's your vote?
Oh man, do I go with celebrity name drop the game or stick with Rocket League?
Come on, you're acting like Rocket League doesn't have like Ford sponsorships out the ass now.
Yeah, but it doesn't. It's not constantly being like, "Hey kids, like here's Naruto and The Rock." You know, it's
just
a little
different. Naruto and The Rock. That's so weird to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all. I think there's something like I enjoy Rocket League at its core gameplay. Fortnite,
I like Rocket League a game.
Yeah, Fortnite, I don't enjoy as a video game, and you can put like every fucking Marvel superhero ever in that game, and I'm still not gonna have fun with it.
That's the point right there. Blake is making a very sound point here.
Yeah,
I don't like Fortnite. I don't like playing it. I don't. I never have. I never will.
I called it Ready Player One, the game, a few years ago, and I was joking.
And
it's happened
now. Feelings on this game are well established.
Yeah, I think hey, so you got a Rocket League vote here, right?
Hell yeah. I'm
okay.
sticking to my guns.
Chris, what you got?
Everyone here has made impassioned arguments for Fortnite, but I want to bring up that this has been happening for years now, and each time you guys bring up something new, it's always, some license deal or whatever, but I never hear about any of these updates in the context of what it means to the actual game itself. Nobody talks about the gameplay ramifications or how things change to play. It's always, oh, I'm excited to see this thing that I know from this other thing. And for an example, you guys talked about Spider-Man coming in the game and adding web slinging. I haven't played it myself, but I can't imagine any scenario where a mechanic like that doesn't completely turn the entire base game of Fortnite upside down and either break or undo so many other mechanics and stuff. And they add shit like this every 2 weeks, and I don't understand how people can play the game with all this and even stay focused on the game.
Well, they've kept it incredibly balanced. They've done it hundreds of times with the
Donovan would know better than anyone else in this discussion.
Donovan has played Fortnite.
I'm the only one in here that knows what happens in that game.
He would know better than anyone else who has had anything to say about this.
I was on Discord and I saw Donovan that said playing Fortnite. I was just
it's just the chances of them getting this right though hundreds of times straight in a row. It's like it just feels incredibly unlikely based on.
I mean, the game has been broken
experience.
before. Like the brute thing they did like 2 years ago. That was the whole thing. That was like in 2019. But they hit way more often than they miss. Is just the fact of it.
Well, either way, I wanted to bring that up. But Sam, he would have convinced me he was here. I played some more of Sea of Thieves earlier this summer. A lot of updates, not the Sparrow update specifically, but just a lot of the stuff they've been doing. And had a wonderful time. And I'll go with Sea of Thieves.
Man, I'll switch my vote to Sea of Thieves if it'll stop Fortnite.
Oh,
it won't.
We're getting a spoiler vote.
Okay, so Rocket League is out.
This is the dumbest stand of all time.
Well, guess what, David?
What?
It comes down to me.
Okay.
As long By the way, Sam is very happy in Slack. I just want to point that out.
If this makes Sam happy too, then that's a double bonus to me.
No, because he really is good with his Sea of Thieves arguments. I mean, I can't deny that.
Fine, I use
Fortnite
I can't
to
give
me,
it to Fortnite. I'm gonna switch it to Sea of Thieves then, because my vote is meaningless.
Nope. Your vote's cast. Your vote's cast.
Oh, we're making up rules now. Okay.
I'm just tired of your shenanigans. All this I'm gonna
this
change.
entire category
After
is shenanigans.
other people vote, I'm gonna change my opinion. It's like, no, you
He's so
voted.
mad that Animal Crossing lost, he's not gonna let it go.
No, it has nothing to do with Animal Crossing. Here.
Oh yeah,
it has to do with the fact that I don't like Fortnite. I just don't enjoy myself in that game. Like, it's not fun to me. I don't like building crap. I don't like that there's no cover mechanic. It's shitty Gears. It's a shitty Gears battle royale with fucking postmodern slop thrown on it every week.
I thought Gears 5. I thought Gears 5 was Gears.
That's what it is. It's there's very little original thought put into that game. Like at all.
I guess that's your opinion.
But they change the map every so often.
That's what this is about here. That's what this is about. That's what
Awards is about. All right. Awesome.
Even though I haven't played a minute of Sea of Thieves, I'm giving it to it. Sea of Thieves. Ongoing game of the year at Shacknews. Congratulations.
Congratulations.